Hey, welcome to the channel, all about blues harmonica. Today, if you haven't already, thumbs up and subscribe. I'm just going to talk about basic phrasing and line today. What makes us originality, and how you progress as a player. All the sort of phrasing and line that you associate with good blues or good playing, of course. Now, if you're sort of starting out, or you're in years 1 and 2, you might have a few bends on the go. You might not be there yet, but you can still start employing this stuff early doors. For example, I'm starting on 4 draw there and going up to the 8 draw, and that's what we call the Dorian minor scale, or the C scale. Okay, and those are things that you might want to play around with. There's no bends involved there, okay, just playing up and down the harmonica, so the C harmonica. But of course, we need phrasing and line because all music is a language, and without that you will start playing scales and chords, and then you need phrases. And of course, it's very easily to start going down routes of music where things become a little bit contrived, or you don't kind of get the originality. You know, for example, I'd rather listen to a player who sometimes might miss the time just here and there, and a little bit of a hiccup here and there, but it's playing original or doing their own phrasing and line, and hearing somebody who's basically mimicking Little Walter, Big Walter, Sonny Boy 1, Sonny Boy 2, William Clark, any of them, doesn't matter, or it doesn't matter who they, as a mimic. We get a lot of that in this game, at the top of the pile, of course. And so really, and this is not new, this is something that you would be given to a first year at jazz college. You would be encouraged, this is the big tip I can give you, would be encouraged to listen to everything. Don't just listen to harmonica players, listen to all things that are in the genre that you wish to play, as in this is all about blues, so we're going down that avenue, but whichever styles that you wish to do, and listen an awful lot to it, an awful lot, and listen to different instruments, and that's really, really important. And the one thing that you really try and stay away from is taking phrases that people either give you, or they're coaching it to you, or you're getting it from a book off an audio. Because what happens, it's not particularly certainly the Harpo, the heel away, it's not the way that I would go about that. And the guys at the top of the pile, who maybe some of these guys are writing these things, they're not doing that. That's not how they got all their phrasing together. They will produce it for the other people to take from, but you can spend 50 years of your life cementing phrases and licks together and not really get very far. Alright, and that is a crucial bit of a tip that I can give anybody who's starting out. This is not rocket science, it's something that you can get to play fairly quickly if you get with the right people. And it's all about phrasing off the line. So we get these lovely phrases. You know, we can develop these phrases and just apply them, and they're our phrases. Yes, they come from what we've heard, but there's a way that you should go about it. And it's so that the brain will remember everything, like remembering jokes, for example, and how you naturally will remember them and be able to recall and change them and change the way that you're playing every time you, I don't like the word practice, but because you're never really practicing your playing if you're doing it correctly. But when you're practicing, you should be evolving all the time, okay? And you should be changing everything that you do so that it becomes as much of an interest to you when you're playing as it is to somebody that's listening to you play for the first time. And you can do this with even very simple scales. I have ways that I coach this, but I would advise anybody not to go what seems like the most obvious route, the most systematical route to learn, because it isn't really the way that these top guys learned to play. And that's really important when you're learning how to play this thing. If you want to get 10 years playing into 2 years, okay, then if you get with the right person, as Miles Davis used to say, you get with the right people and you'll find a direction like that. But you can scatter around for an awful long time, buying a lot of publications, listening to a lot of nonsense about improvising, and really either not getting there or ending up like a mimic rather than be original. Okay, so the biggest tip I can give people is to listen to as many different people as you can within your genre or beyond, whatever, and you're going to take from everything. And you have to start hearing this. And it's like anything, if you're listening, if you're learning a language like French, German, Italian, I speak a couple of languages, but a few languages, and you know, and it's like music. Music is a language, and so the more you hear it, and of course we've all come across the person who can speak fluent English. It's not their first language, but it's quite difficult to understand them because they've learnt the language, but they haven't learnt how to accent and pronounce in the way that we would be familiar with. So sometimes you're on a phone call to some gentleman or lady who extremely nice, you're trying to do business or talk to them, they can speak fluent English, but it's very difficult to understand them because they haven't adopted those things. Now, as a musician, we're listening for these things all the time, and one of the ways to develop and get yourself into doing this thing is an awful lot of listening. In fact, you do far more listening than you do playing of this thing, okay? So that would be my tip for today, okay? Get yourself listening, and listening in the right way. And when you're ready to hear it, well, somebody once said to me, when you're ready to hear it, you'll hear it. They were talking about jazz to me when I was a lot younger, when I was playing different instruments, and I was learning to be a jazz professional. But same thing with this. You need to do an awful lot of listening. So if you love what you do, then it's fairly easy to do that. If it becomes a chore, then, well, maybe it's not for you, okay? But the biggest tip is listen to as many different things as you can and listen a lot. And then you'll be able to narrow down and go from there. And remember that the guys who are writing the books and putting all the phrasing in, that's not the way that they come to it. When I come and find another 10 or 15 phrases on here, I might find one idea and then I'll work from that idea, and that's what I coach, because that is the way to improvise and learn on a musical instrument. Other than that, it gets it can be done the other way, but it gets pretty tricky. Okay. Alright, thumbs up and subscribe. Guess what? I'll catch you on the rebound.